right? We not having that. We want to build a community, forever. Kids win, we win. Period. All right, class is in session. Welcome to another episode of AM University. This is episode 4. I'm Antoine Miller, your host. I got my man AP here. Man that wears many hats. College coach, he just added that to the resume a couple years ago. Owner of A1 Basketball. Always been an entrepreneur, ever since I known him as a young man. And we got a lot of interesting topics that we've been talking about for years, so I had to bring him on and just get right into it. So introduce yourself so we could just go ahead.
Coach AP, owner and founder of A1 Basketball Fitness. Currently a collegiate coach at Lincoln University, assistant coach and director of player development.
All right, yeah, let's get all that out the way because I know he got a lot to say about this topic. All right, so for me personally, right, I met a lot of trainers in my life. I don't like most. I don't like most.
Sounds like me a little bit, but
obviously you here, so I think very highly of you. My man D Briggs. In the area, I like Zaire McCormick from a standpoint of what he's doing for younger kids, from the passion part.
Right.
I think that's really, really much needed.
Right.
And I don't want to stretch it outside of that and name nobody else, because again, most I think is just not good. So, what I want to ask you is to start off, what makes a good trainer? Because I see a lot of the trainers I see, they either try too hard to be complex and be different from the next guy, or it's just so 1 + 1 is just not helping anyone.
Right.
So you with a skill set that you have, which I think is very high. Let's start off with you telling me what an ideal trainer is, because I think most parents and obviously players don't know.
So first, I'm gonna say is a difference between a trainer and a player development coach. They're two different worlds, and people won't understand that until you start to go up in the ranks. You get what I'm saying? A trainer is a person who focuses solely on skill, right? And they teach 1% of the game, right? And that's more so you set up a bunch of cones, got a bunch of obstacle things going on, and it's not that it's not important, but it's overdone. Like, to me, that's what a lot of trainers are. You know what I'm saying? You see that across the board on all type of social media platforms. You got this one guy out here, he's putting up a bunch of cones, he's throwing tennis balls here, he's doing it's just like, what is the purpose of this? Is this making a basketball player, or are you teaching this kid how to over dribble in multiple situations where it shouldn't be happening? And so for me, a trainer is just that. A trainer is literally focusing on making you better at dribbling, and it may be, just developing a skill set. I'll say that. That's what a trainer is. A trainer is somebody that helps you develop a skill set. And you get a lot of kids who become overly skilled but can't play.
And what's the difference with the development?
Player development coach is a guy who takes a kid through the whole process on how to use those skills and that talent to be recruitable, how to perform within any type of system. You can look and break down you can break down and help them identify what their role is as a basketball player as a whole. A player development coach is creating a basketball player, not just making you good in one specific area.
Well, I got a huge problem with the difference. Why aren't they the same? Because what's the point of being a trainer if you're not developing?
That's why it's watered down.
So, but you saying so people they view it that way as two different categories, or
no, it is
that's what it is.
No, that is what
that's
it
just
is.
What it is.
Because you got to look at it like this, right? So every kid that's coming into, or every kid that I ever worked with, and you build relationships with coaches to the universities they go to, et cetera, their number one thing and compliment is this kid came in already developed. And what that means is they can take that kid with their skill set and have them play within their system right away because they're developed, they know how to play, right? Then you get some kids that's just overly skilled. They can bing, 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 they can dribble, they can shoot, but they don't know how to play.
They shaky too.
Which
Them
ones?
kids that's overly skilled.
Yeah,
Cause think about it. That's robotic. But go ahead, keep talking.
No, I mean, that's exactly what it is. So that's why it's a difference. So you get a kid that's used to going up against cones and not used to a live defender, or is not taught on how to read and react, but can bing, 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 and can do 3-step back James Harden. Like, that's skill, that's tough, that's cool, I like it, but realistically, you don't know how to play.
It's not
You don't know how to play. It's tough because it looks cool. I'll put it that way. It's not tough because it's bad basketball. I hate it. But it just doesn't add in to being a complete basketball player, right? So you ask that question, what's the difference in a player development coach? As a player development coach, I'm going to teach you how to play defense, right? I'm going to teach you how to make the right reads where you're supposed to be in help side. I want to teach you how to read the floor from when you attack, what are your options? When you come off that pick and roll, what are your options? Like, I think it's hilarious. A lot of the times you watch these trainers who try to implement that P&R work, right? You see them doing a sneak, you see them coming off, you maybe throwing a throwback pass, but a lot of what are you reading that makes you identify that's the right read and pass? Okay, you have the skill to make the pass, but then you get in the game and you supposed to make that pass and you don't. You probably try to Euro step past the help defender. You get what I'm saying?
You putting somebody in jail in a drill just because it looked good. Do we even know what he putting somebody in jail for?
I have no idea. I don't know what they be thinking about, bro. I'll be lost. And it's sad because it's like this is parents' time, this is their money. You get what I'm saying? And it's just like you're just in a box. You're in a complete box and you don't know how to play. That irks me, dude. You know what I'm saying? That irks the hell out of me to the point where it's like all that training and skilling and drilling and you don't know how to play. So all the money and time you spent with that one person, they never taught you how to play. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a huge problem, man. A huge problem, and that's why I wanted you on. So we're saying that because I think it's a great area with this question I'm about to ask you. So as far as business-wise, do you think it's okay to market your business through kids, splash players?
So how I look at it is a difference between marketing and branding, your company with players and exploiting them. That's totally different.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Explain, please.
To me, exploiting a kid is taking a kid that already can play, already has, the clout, the name behind them, and the recognition of who they are, and you work out with them maybe a few times, and you throw them on your social media page, like, look at me, look who I'm training. And all the while, you never put in none of the leg work or the grind at what it took for that kid to become that. That's exploiting the kid. Now, when you take a kid that you get from the mud and you show the process of that kid going from point A to B, yeah, you want to show that's your work, that's the craft, that's what that's what you want to sell, that's what you want to show.
Right.
A lot of people don't do that. They get one big name and just throw them on their gram like, hey, look who I'm working with.
Right.
And you really, realistically, you have you're just a glorified rebounder at this point.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You send them through a workout. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. Because you answered it the way I agree with it the same, because at the end of the it's still a business, right?
Yeah,
for everybody, but it's assets and liabilities too.
Right.
Like, we are asset to each other, then that's not a problem. But if you're getting exploited, I agree with that a lot.
And a lot of people exploit. You know what I'm saying? And that is just, I really genuinely just care about kids. Period. You know what I'm saying? And I never want to see a kid be in a situation where their talent and because of who they are can benefit the next person, right? You see a lot of that going on. That's not cool. That's not cool at all. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, any kid that you ever see me post and you see me talk about or brag about, literally it's been some time, it's been years, it's been months, it's not just 1 or 2 weeks, and it's like, yeah, I'm training this kid.
Right.
And even if you get a kid that's already talented, that can play already, I can break down their game and show you what I added to their game. That I can say, yeah, they worked out with me.
That's important and most trainers say that, or people
listen.
They all should be the same, player development trainer. But can most people that can they say that?
Can they say they added value to a kid's game?
Can they show you that they added value?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what they can show, but I know what I can show. You get what I'm saying? I document a lot of my stuff because what I'm doing is I'm showing a process for that player, and then 2, in the end result, like, this is what you got better at.
Right.
You get what I'm
Right.
saying? And a lot of times, a lot of players know when they come in the door what they're already capable of doing. You know what I'm saying?
No, they don't.
They do, for the simple fact that you might get a kid that already got a skill set, right? They know they can bing, 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 bing.
Do they?
Yeah, for the most part, you know when you dribbling that ball, how you can handle it.
Do you?
Yeah, bro. You don't think so?
I think everybody think they can shoot. Is that true?
No, that's not true.
But I guarantee they come in there and act
all
like
right,
that
let me take that back.
before you humble them.
Let me take that back. Everybody might have the ability to shoot, but everybody shouldn't be labeled a shooter. I'll put it that way.
I'm only going to agree with you because it's you saying it, and I know what you can do with shooters. But
Everybody.
otherwise, I would disagree with that too.
So when you say the ability to shoot, it goes from can a person knock down a shot, right? If you can knock down a shot from the outside, from any type of distance, any type of range, right? You know what I mean? You have that ability to shoot. What makes you a shooter is the efficiency.
You got arms and like a wrist and like, but again, because it's you. I'm a trust you in that category because I've seen you do it.
It becomes an efficiency thing, right? So a person that's shooting over 43, 42% should not be in the same category as a person that's shooting 38 or lower.
Right.
They're two different people. So the person who's shooting
Totally
38%, can he shoot? You can't say he can't shoot. He's making 38% of the shots he put up from the outside or wherever he put the ball up from.
How many shots he shooting? Like that's a loaded.
You said that's
a loaded argument. How many shots he shooting to get that?
That's true.
How many shots Russell Westbrook shooting to get his 30?
Man, don't get me started on your guy.
He's shooting probably 30-some shots or close
Russell.
to it to get it. But again, you the specialist in that category, so I'm gonna trust you. But in most cases, you can't shoot. You can't shoot, bro.
Most people really can't shoot.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Let me take that.
They might take They might take shots.
Most people take shots and might be able to knock a few down, but they're not shooters. If that, you know what I'm saying? That's a better way to say it.
Yeah.
A lot of people might be able to knock down shots, but you are not a shooter if you're not shooting that at an efficient
AI
level.
can make shots, but he wasn't a shooter.
Wasn't a shooter. Exactly.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah,
exactly.
I agree with that.
Exactly.
So with saying all this, a lot of parents come in. Again, you see this person on his videos, his Instagram, and he's worked with this caliber of guy. Now he's a great trainer, quote unquote, right? And parents just go with that. So because I know a lot of parents don't know what that ask trainers. Most parents, to me, you can attest to this more than me. They probably don't even ask trainers or coaches, what can you offer my son or daughter? And that's a major problem as well. What can you offer my son or daughter in this training? If you can't lay out this framework, why would I even go to you? You know? So from your experience, tell me what parents should be looking for or asking when, they think about having this person train my kid.
From the outside looking in, if I was a parent and I was to take my child to a trainer or some sort of player development coach, I honestly would want to see your resume. I want to see who have you worked with thoroughly, not someone that you're just throwing on your page because it looks cool and it brings in business. Show me the details of who you worked with. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's one. And then two, are you going to be able to teach my kid how to play basketball, not make them better in one area of the game? And that's what a lot of people are doing. Oh, this guy can dribble. This guy, he can shoot. Or this guy, no, it should be one-stop shop. If you're so-called a trainer or a coach, you should be able to teach the whole game. But everybody's not doing that. So when I'm going to a trainer, me personally, just me being who I am, I want to know that I'm turning my kid over to somebody that I know I can trust is going to teach my child how to play. When I have kids, I don't have no kids yet. You know what I mean?
Just in totality, everything.
Yeah.
I don't see many trainers that could teach multiple positions, like big, small. I don't see many.
What's funny is when I get a kid that needs to work in the post and they say, "Oh, I thought you only could work with guards." When you know the game, you could teach. You could teach.
You look like a guard.
Yeah, but when you know the game, you could teach. 1 through 5.
That's an interesting part too. Who teaches? I don't even want to label people a big man, but who teaches things like in the post or at the basket anymore? I see you do it, but I don't see many, and that puzzles me, bro. Like, I remember Frank Martin, South Carolina coach. He told me one day. I was at a camp at Roselle Catholic. He said, one day college basketball is going to get sick of me and they going to fire me. And he said, I'm going to come back to high school and I'm going to bust all y'all ass as far as coaches. He said, you know why? Because none of y'all teach post work. None of y'all teach post work. And again, I don't. Well, I understand it.
It's a lost art because nowadays, and I could be guilty of this as well. You get a big kid that's a post player. You work. Honestly, it's the way the game's being played. To be honest, you get more of stretch bigs than you get that old school.
Says who though? Like, and that's what I talked briefly to Briggs about that. Like, okay, so because the whole world says that's how the game is being played, I gotta follow suit. Like, I'm just talking about us as a whole.
It's a copycat thing. It's a copycat.
Yeah, but I got that kid over there that has a big skill set. Now, it is my job as a trainer or a coach to try to make him as diverse as possible.
Right.
But it is what it is.
Right.
He's really good down there, but he wants to be a stretch forward.
Right.
Everybody in the world wants to be a stretch forward.
I think it's just about having a complete package. I believe point guard should have post moves, just as well as I feel like a big should have some guard skill. You get what I'm saying? Like that's my thing. I want to make you as sound as possible. I don't want you to ever be in a situation where you say, I was never taught this and you don't know how to do such and such.
Do you put a cap on that as far as I don't know, age or maturity or like you coach college basketball right now. We'll get into that in a second. You got a 19-year-old kid, he a grown man.
Right.
And he can't post up. Like, how do you handle something like that? Do you still introduce it to him, or
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, because I'm asking that because the older you get, the more habits it's harder to break. So it's like definitely being in your situation. I know y'all don't have the time.
We do and we don't, right? Yeah. That's part of having a staff and a team of people. And being a player development coach, right? So being a director of player development, you literally have to assess everybody on your roster. This is stuff I've been doing for years prior to coaching in college. When you break down a person's game, you have to know what value they need to be added, what value needs to be added to their game,
right.
And then at the same time, what is going to be the plan of action to help that kid earn and gain these.
That's a great point. Skills. That's a great point, and I know where you're going with that. So, you when you get a kid, you assess them.
Absolutely.
Please go through that. Whatever your routine is of doing it, because I don't think most trainers even do that. They just start picking up a basketball.
You about to have me start spreading some gems of mine.
It's a very important subject.
When I first get a kid, I definitely go through assessment, right? And what an assessment looks like is this: do they have the ability to retain information, right? How athletic are they, and what does their footwork look like? Right, and then after that, now I'm starting to measure your skill set. Can you dribble already? Do you have ball control? Can you shoot? What is your touch like? You get what I'm saying? And then do you understand the positions that I'm putting you in, what to actually do with those in a 5-on-5 setting?
Right.
That's my assessment.
Right.
And from there, the last cherry on top is what is going to be your end goal? Are you going to be a Division I, Division II, Division III? NAIA, JUCO, you need a post grad, right? I can break all that down from one assessment.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And what happens now is my job is to make this kid recruitable or develop them to their full potential. And whatever their full potential is, that's where they're going to go. If you end up being a Division III kid, it won't be because you didn't have the tangibles to play at another level.
Right.
You have some things that's missing. Maybe you didn't have the size, the athleticism, or the IQ or the ability to retain information fast enough.
Right.
If you end up going D1, it's because you might have the eyeball test, which is always the number one thing that coaches go by.
Right.
But then you have about 2 or 3 things that you do really, really well, and a coach may even say, hey, well, I know you're going to be a project. Let me take you. You get what I'm saying? And then some coaches, they just want finished products. They don't want a kid that they got to develop and work with. You get what I'm saying? So it's one of those scenarios, and that's then the political piece behind it, right? And what I mean by political piece is being in the right predicaments, having the right people in your corner, being marketable. I like to say it's recruitable. I make every kid I ever work with recruitable.
No, I'd rather you keep it at marketable, because all this is a business. I look at it even from the high school level. It's all a business, and we got to start looking at that.
Right.
The whole outlook of it.
Right.
So, but you adapt to whatever skill set you see, because you obviously confident in your craft that you can do so.
Yeah. I can look at a kid and tell you what position they'll play in college. I can look at a kid when they're in 10, 12 years old, what they'll be, because there's some things you can't teach.
Right.
Like a person's feel for the game, the way they think the game. You can. Oh yeah, you're going to be a guard. If you have slow feet, if you don't have that quick twitch fiber muscle that just makes you super duper explosive, right? All right, so you might end up being a post. You know what I'm saying, or some type of three. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
If you don't have the ability to retain information and you're behind the 8 ball, all right, then you're setting yourself up for a certain cap.
Right.
Like these are all the things that helped me develop the kids that I work with.
Right. Okay. That's really good. Briefly, I want you to talk about, because you're in a very unique situation right now. You Lincoln's assistant coach, but at the same time, if he wouldn't be that smart if he didn't have you physically training your kids individually and as a team because of your skill set. So briefly talk, because it's interesting to me, how is the transition from full time, how you was training high school for a little bit, full time being an assistant coach, but as far as same as juggling, the training aspect of it, because just switching levels of coaching, people think it's not. It's sweet, but it's not. Everything is moved faster. Everything is more structured and things like that. But you even got to take it a step further with your profession because you actually train kids as well. So just talk about that transition a little bit.
The biggest transition was the amount of time that goes into coaching in college. Right, a lot of people see just the basketball aspect, but before you even touch a basketball, it's 50 million other things you got to do to just get to the basketball. Right, that was the biggest adjustment from the rip. The second adjustment that I had to face was actually being an assistant coach and not just that player development coach, where you got to start to. I had to go back into being a point guard and really thinking the game, not just trying to help this kid become successful at the game. You know, so my first 4 or 5 games, I'm sitting here. Oh, they were supposed to make this read, or that was I'm breaking down their skill set, and the whole time I'm missing certain key points and adjustments that we should be making. So it was like, oh, my bad, coach. Like that's why when I think we talked about it before. A coach is a coach. A coach is exactly what we just said right there. You breaking down X's and O's and you trying to strategize on how to outthink the coach that you coaching against. That's a coach. A trainer and a player development coach, they have their own lanes. You get what I'm saying? And it's almost like the best way to put it is a doctor is a doctor, a nurse is a nurse. Are they both serviceable? Do they both serve their purpose? Yeah, absolutely. But you can't discredit a coach by saying a nurse is the same. You can't do that. They just two different things. Coaching's hard, man. It ain't as simple and easy as people think. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people.
Well, that's why I asked you the question. A lot of people.
It's not. It's hard, bro. It's hard, especially coming from me just being such a hands-on player development guy, and I had to put on a new thinking cap. You get what I'm saying? Now the part that was easy was developing my guys to be able to play in a system like that. I've been doing that already. I know how to do that. The hardest part was, again, we down 6. What should we be running? You get what I'm saying? What does my scout say right now? When coaches get in this situation right now, what is he going to typically draw up?
Right.
But when I'm not thinking about my scout and I'm thinking about he just traveled. He got to work on his foot. You get what I'm saying? Like I had to really pull myself out. Like
That's what I'm saying. You're wearing a couple of hats.
Yeah.
Tough, and you think it's easy to delegate your brain. Like that, but it's really not. You focusing on this aspect, he focusing on that aspect. That's why. Now I'm really glad you said that because it's a different monster, man. It's a different monster.
It's just a different, like you said, it's a different hat. And you got to be open to it, and you got to be honest with yourself too. You know what I'm saying? You can't sit here and say, "Oh yeah, I'm a hell of a coach." Like, man, listen. I'm learning still on the fly right now. You get what I'm saying? I'm still learning. It's still I talk basketball nonstop. You see how many times we talk. You get what I'm saying? Now imagine me talking with you, then talking with a coach from LIU out Cali. You get what I'm saying? Like I'm constantly talking and making resources just to challenge my own thought process. I'm super analytical about everything in this sport.
And embrace the weaknesses, or if you messed up, embrace
you
it
have
all.
You have to, and that's what I'm that way with my players, so I got to be able to do the same thing. That's the only way you can get better, right? I'm brutally honest, and a lot of people don't like honesty. You get what I'm saying? I'll tell a kid in a heartbeat, you're not that good, or you still have certain holes and flaws in your game, and if you can't accept that, then you can't get better. How can you get better at something that you won't accept yourself?
I learned that a long time ago, man. Embrace honesty with parents, yourself, players, and a little side caveat is I learned on the way is, like, tell your kids when you messed up. Like, tell them, like, yo, I was wrong on that play.
I should have called X, Y, and Z. Yeah.
It brings so much more comfortability with them and y'all two relationship that because you a grown man,
Right.
You ain't really supposed to be wrong.
Yeah.
You know, a kid ain't going. You the coach. You're supposed to be right every time. Like
Right.
no, I make mistakes too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
You gonna make those mistakes.
and right, and then the bond get really strong with that.
Yeah.
The bond get really strong with that. That's really good, man. So. Overall, just talk about your program a little bit for anybody that don't know it. Because again, man, it's not because you're here. It's not because I talk to you a lot, bro. You to me, you mastered complexity with simplifying your training, if that makes sense. Like a lot of people just get so complex. I'm looking like, what are you doing, bro?
Right.
Like, you just doing things because you want to be different.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
what are you doing?
It doesn't add up, right? Simplicity is the name of the game, period, right? And if you have a high IQ, you understand players who are really, really well do 2 or 3 things super great. You don't need, of course you get a guy like James Harden who's innovative and he's taking the ability to be able to score the ball the way he's doing to a whole nother level, right? That's something different. But prior to him being that person, he mastered the fundamentals on how to score the basketball, knowing how to get to your spot, knowing how to set your defender up to get get an easy, quick bucket. So it's just one of those things. But with the program, it is. I really preach simplicity. My goal, honestly, is to give every player that comes into a gym or works out with me the elite fundamentals. And what I mean by that is your fundamental game is flawless. You have no flaws in your fundamental game. You have good footwork. You can shoot the ball. You have good mechanics. You can pass the ball. You know when to pass the ball. And when you master all that stuff, now you're destined to be whatever you are to be. Your athleticism is going to kick in. Your height is going to be what it's going to be. And now the rest is the rest. My goal is really, to create a foundation and a blueprint for you to be successful. My job is done. You don't have to train with me for the rest of your life for you to be good. I'm one person. You get what I'm saying? But there's multiple kids that come after you that needs that same blueprint. Right. And I feel like a lot of people miss that.
Right.
A lot of people miss that.
Right. And your God-given ability takes over once you get the fundamentals. It's like everybody's going in reverse.
Absolutely.
Like
Absolutely. Everybody's trying to create God-given abilities. That is the most backwards thing I've ever seen in my life.
Everybody's trying to create God-given abilities.
Yeah, like I promise you, bro. People are trying to make kids who are not athletic. I can't wait to
go back and say that to my kids.
People are trying to make guys who are not athletic. You're trying to make kids who are small play like they're tall. Like, how do you do that? Yeah. You have to be able to take a kid for what it is and understand, be honest, right? You have to be honest and build on that. And then wherever those chips may fall, that's where they're gonna land at.
I just think most people just not that good at what they do because, like you said, bro, like to me, the master of, and again, I'm putting training in a category instead of coaching, but to me, it's all coaching. I look at it all as coaching. It's a form of,
I get it. It's just like a nurse, a doctor is all medical, right?
But the main thing to me about coaching is adapting. You have to be able to adapt. I'm talking to Briggs on the other podcast. I hate Mike D'Antoni. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah. They played away that whole year with Houston, and the Lakers figured a way to stop it, and he could not adapt because they played that same way the entire year. I hate coaches like that, but that's most coaches. Yeah, that's most trainers.
Coaches. Yeah, you get stubborn coaches and trainers. You do.
And to me, that's why most trainers are in the position that they in because they can't really do anything else. Like,
as far as what?
Adapting to the skill set of the person that comes in the door. Like you said assessments, you said evaluations, whatever like that. I know most trainers don't do that because most trainers wouldn't know what to do if this player can't do this. So I'm gonna just already premeditate in my mind what I want to do for that kid and let the chips fall, right? You serve no purpose just now.
And honestly, you talk about business, their training style becomes their brand. You got to look at it that way too. So I don't necessarily knock it from a business perspective. Right, but whatever your skill is, and whatever people when they say your company name, oh, this is what this trainer's known for. He's going to give that across the board because now you're going to mess up his bag if you start teaching anything different. I get it, I respect it from a business standpoint, but when we talk about the love of this game, I hate it.
It got to be balanced though. I kind of respect it, and that's why I asked you the question I asked you about marketing. I kind of respect it because it is a business. Nobody's in here to just not make any money.
Right.
But at the same time, the skill set always shows his way to the top in any type of field. Like, so you want to train kids like this if you want. Like, there's only so many of them high level dudes that you got by luck you gonna get.
Sometimes that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. It's more so it might be convenient. It might be, you know, you're the best situation for them to really get some work in.
Right.
And that's another thing. You got training, you got workouts. Then you got just the player development coach. Some people are just workout guys, which, you know, in the industry, in the business, we call them glorified rebounders.
I've been hearing that so much lately.
We call it a glorified rebounder.
Hearing that so much lately. All right, let's end it with this. So what advice would you give an inspiring trainer, or one that, which we know plenty of, that's just, for lack of better words, going about it the wrong way?
Be open to criticism. Be open to want to learn. A lot of the information I have about the game, I put myself in a situation to be a student. I read a lot of books. Like when I was interning with the Sixers with the G League team,
Mm-hmm.
I'm around all those guys continuously. You get what I'm saying? And I'm asking questions. You know, hey, what do you think about this, or why not? Right?
Mm-hmm.
The whole breakdown of knowing what the difference between a trainer and a player development guy is. Billy Lang taught me that.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you mean by that? Because this is when I first started out. Like, what's the difference? I never knew it was a difference.
Mm-hmm.
He broke it down. So you get what I'm saying? And there's a huge difference, especially in the business, if you feel this is what you love to do and where you want to take it to the next heights.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
But I would just say, you know, just continue to educate yourself and be open. It's one thing to be innovative. It's okay to be innovative, but make sure when you're innovative, it serves the purpose of playing the game the right way. Because it's more than, you know, there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. I'm okay with that. But sometimes that one way you doing has, I can't see the application with why. You get what I'm saying? It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. So.
All right. Yeah, it's good. I'm gonna leave it right there, brother. Gonna leave it right there.
Oh man, trainers, man. Yeah, I couldn't really go on that because I couldn't really